Yeah, and I wanted to bring up because we were talking a little before we started recording how Ava isn't getting the credit she maybe deserves from your point of view. Can you kind of talk on that, Ben?
Yeah, I think like looking at this vote, right? Vince and Zach talked to Lauren in this episode, in the eviction episode, about the vote. They only need 7 votes or 6 plus, Lauren breaking the tie, and they think they have potentially 7 with Ava, right? The 4 who voted, against Will in the actual vote, plus Zach and Vince, plus Ava. They think that's the 7 they can get, and they know that they do have the 6 with Lauren breaking the tie, but Lauren doesn't want to break the tie. Like, she doesn't want to have to do that if she doesn't have to. And so they both individually and as a pair go to Ava earlier today and talk to her about the eviction vote with the intent of trying to like convert her or like make sure that she's locked in to potentially vote out Will. And she basically shuts it down, and she gives the same argument to both of them, which is the people who are going to try and evict Will are Riley, Catherine, Kelly, and Keanu, the 4 that we saw in the eviction episode, cast the votes on the wrong side of the house. And Ava's argument was, these are people that are the consensus house targets. These are like the house pariahs. And if you vote with them and it doesn't work out, then you're going to also be pushed in with the house pariahs. You're going to be like seen as associated with them. And that scared off both Zach and Vince from even considering tying this vote. They went back and had a conversation, and they decided that Ava was correct and they shouldn't try to save Adrian because it'll tie them to the house pariahs of Kelly, Keanu, Riley, and Catherine, which is a horrible argument, but it worked. It's a horrible argument if you're like a person, like a rational person trying to play Big Brother optimally. But like if you're Zach and Vince and you're like, you have this mindset of like trying to mitigate as much disaster as possible, or to mitigate as much chaos as possible, even if that chaos could help you, then it's a good argument because they don't want to be seen as being associated with Keanu or even Kelly. Like, even like, Vince and Kelly are affiliated, but like even with that, Vince does have like a shield up between him and Kelly in a lot of things. So that, I think, was the deciding factor in what we saw tonight, which is the 8-4 vote. Because they did have the votes. They could have saved Adrian and evict Will. They just chose not to. And they chose not to because Ava convinced them not to. And that was not shown at all. I think the reason it wasn't shown partially was because it would have given away the vote, and they don't want to like ruin the suspense or whatever. Like, oh, it could go either way. But like, I hope on Sunday they like kind of do a little bit of a flashback and show that happening and give Ava the credit. Because I think right now they don't really know what to do with Ava. Like, the show has had like a weird history of like, and like not even just Big Brother US, Big Brother Canada had this issue as well, where if somebody who's kind of like puppet mastering the game does not like archetypically fit into who you would like slot as a puppet master, then the show doesn't really like edit them appropriately. And this happens especially with women, where like the only 2 examples I can think of where they edited like a female puppet master well were like Danielle Reyes and like Vanessa are like the 2 big examples I can think of. And they had very different personalities than Ava, right? Ava is, very bubbly, very emotional. Like we even saw on this episode with the eviction, she was breaking down, even though she was the one who orchestrated Adrian's eviction. She was still upset about it because of like, Adrian had the speech that he had. So like, I don't know if the show really like has like the wherewithal to edit Ava accurately into how she's playing. But it's very interesting. I hope they can kind of pivot a little bit. because she's like definitely like by far the best player right now. I think it's her, and then there's like a small gap, and then like Mickey, Rachel. But like Mickey, even in this episode, we saw her, make this mistake with Adrian, telling him this information about the Morgan, Zach, Vince trio, not getting back to Zach, etc. So like Mickey has made mistakes, whereas I don't think Ava has really made any mistakes. So
I think it's like especially interesting because, like you said, she is so unassuming in like her presentation. Like you're gonna overlook Ava because like you just don't expect someone who dresses like Ava to be like this game savvy. And she is, and I think that's really fun. So yeah, like you said, I hope that the show kind of gets around to showing what she's really doing, because that's a very different type of player that we maybe have never seen before, right? I mean,
it's very unique. Yeah.
I can't even think of like anyone who really is like her archetype and then was also like super strategic. I'm honestly even struggling to figure out like her archetype. Have we cast?
Well, like I think at the end of the season we expected her to be like Elisa from last season, where she was just kind of like, like kind of
putting glitter in everyone's food.
Yeah, like kind of I don't know, like an airhead, like I wouldn't say airhead, but like kind of like a space cadet almost, or like somebody who's like kind of like a little bit too wacky, voodoo stuff, a little too wacky for the game, a little too out there, doesn't fit in socially. But no, I mean, like there was one player that was clocking onto Ava's game, and even tried to tell Kelly, and Kelly was like, "No, you're crazy. It's not true." And that was Adrian. Adrian literally saw what Ava was doing and was like, "Hey, Ava is dangerous. Like, she's gonna go far, and she's extremely likable, and like, everyone loves her, and like, and she like, she knows what she's doing. She's not like, this is not like an accident that she's in the position she's in." And Kelly was like, "No, I don't believe you," basically. And now Adrian's gone because of Ava. So like, I just don't. At this point, I don't see Ava going home anytime soon. I think she's down for the long haul for this game.
Yeah, Adrian, you come for the queen. You better not miss. All right, buddy. send you straight out of the house.
Yeah, you're gonna get beheaded, as Rachel said.
As Rachel said, you're gonna get beheaded by the sunflower queen.